What's up, Legion? Welcome to I Still Call It a Lariat. We are a pro wrestling podcast. We are growing. Today. We have a special guest with us. As always with me, of course, my Fezzik, my giant hound dog. How you doing today, buddy?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for meeting with me again. I will tolerate your face and your voice and your presence for the recording time, but not past that.
That makes sense. I wouldn't tolerate me much longer either. Our special guest today, though, from the Twin Cities Double Up, formerly of Coal Mine, aspiring indie pro wrestler, Mr. Brock. He is a damn fine human as well. How you doing today, buddy?
Even better after that introduction. That was fantastic, Steve. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on the show. It was fun. Last minute addition, but looking forward to it. And thanks for introducing me as an aspiring indie wrestler, because that's becoming real now. It's fun.
Oh, I love that.
I love it. And you have two former indie wrestlers to talk to. So we have some knowledge for you.
I appreciate every bit.
It's probably not good knowledge. I would do everything opposite of what we suggest, because clearly we didn't make it to the big time. So
yeah, like you're training with Ken Anderson. Listen to him.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
All right. So first things first, as always, we're going to get into our nonprofit organizations. First one that we always talk about is, of course, Tap Cancer Out, a series of jiu-jitsu tournaments that helps out with Alex's Lemonade Stand, American Brain Tumor Association, Isabella Santos Foundation, Little Pink Houses of Hope, Camp Sunshine, Christopher's Haven, the Sidney Kimmel Comprehensive Cancer Center at Johns Hopkins, CureCervicalCancer.org, First Descent. Our newest one is Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and of course, everyone's favorite, Tom Coughlin's J Fund.
The J Fund. I'm extra rumbly today. I'm kind of.
He is extra rumbly. It's a nice rumble.
You know what? I'll tell you why. Because my feud continues with Mother Nature. You see, this. I'm not going to cuss, being a good Christian man, but this so-and-so, Mother Nature, yesterday, outside my door, outside this wall, 81 degrees. Today, 43.
Yikes! How did you ever make it in the wrestling industry?
I love your feud with Mother Nature almost as much as I love your feud with Takeshita.
I have made peace with Takeshita, and we've come to the conclusion that I will hit Mother Nature with Takeshita because he is a force of nature. Only chance I have at winning either of these feuds.
You better hope for the best at this point. All right. I'm getting us back on track. We're getting back on track. All right. Our other nonprofit that we constantly promote is the American Red Cross and their varying disaster relief funds, whether it is wildfires in the Northwest, blizzards in the Southeast, hurricanes that are killing parts of the area that don't normally get hurricanes, or just anything else. They are very helpful with all of this. Mr. Brock, I know you've had dealings with the Red Cross. You're actually part of the reason why we continue to support them and promote them on this show, because I know personally you have dealt with them, and you being a friend to me and a friend to the show, I like to make sure that we do the right thing by the people who are right to us.
No, and I'm glad you did. Quick plug for them myself. My house burned down in October of 2022, and within a few hours, the Red Cross was out there and sat down with me and my family, asked us like 15 minutes worth of questions, and then handed us a gift card with $500-something on it and said, just go buy whatever you need. They also just said, all right, make sure you call us if you need prescriptions, contacts, all of these things listed out, gave us every resource. And I ended up calling them like 3 times to see if we could get stuff, and every single time they were fantastic. So huge plug. They are definitely like the king of kings when it comes to disaster relief. So if you're looking for somewhere to throw your money, that's a good one.
Again, I love hearing stuff like that, because not that I love that you were in a disaster, but I love how they helped you so much. Like,
for sure,
Hound and I, it's part of the reason why Hound and I love to promote some of these. The last one that we get into always is Chris Bay's GoFundMe. We constantly get to hear great information about Chris Bay and the fact that he is standing, he is walking, he is living a normal life, and that is after having immediate priority neck surgery as soon as he nailed a springboard cutter, which was kind of a routine move for him at the time. Just landed wrong, and we love the fact that after a few months he's doing stuff that they're already saying that he wasn't supposed to be doing. He wasn't supposed to be walking. He wasn't supposed to be standing. Chris Bay, our prayers and our thoughts are always with you, being in the wrestling world. Hound, I know you're always happy to hear that Mr. Bay is doing the greatest things. Have you started bumping his music yet?
I did check out a little bit of his music. Enjoyable. I mean, not necessarily up my my alley, but I will out of respect have it on in the background. But I do want to say though, and for anybody out there, anybody in the Legion listening, and anybody associated with Mr. Brock, use Chris Bay as an example. We've all got finite time here, folks, and we do enough of a disservice to ourselves telling ourselves we can't. Look at the people who overcome. I promise you can overcome too. We got, as far as we know, we got one shot at this thing. So everybody, let's look at the people who are saying, this is my shot and I'm taking it. And I think we all should do the same.
Damn right. Damn right. All right, guys. Well, there's this weird rumor that this is a wrestling podcast. I think I started the rumor.
Lies and slander.
Slander. All right. I think we're supposed to talk about wrestling. Allegedly. So, Mr. Brock here was actually at this past week's Dynamite. Now, this Dynamite was actually one of the better ones that I've watched recently. And I think they're finally starting to cement some stuff for the Dynasty pay-per-view, which is coming up next week. Now then, for those of the Legion who do watch and listen to us on the regular, Dynasty will not be part of our normal scorecard if we are doing... So we're not doing a preview. We are just going to do a review for it. Our season has ended, and our new season will start up with WrestleMania as planned. In which case, Hound will have a chance for the title next year. For the 2025-2026 season. Which means he might not make such bold predictions this year.
Oh, I will make every one of those bold predictions just the same. I mean, we got to have some fun with it. I mean, far too often, Showtime, myself, and you, we all are like, oh, this is what's going to make sense. So we got to have a little bit of spice, if you will. But I suggest we get a replica of the Saudi belt, and it goes to the winner, because that is the most, understated title of all time.
None of us have the money for the Saudi belt. It's even a replica.
I will handle this. I'll take care of it.
All right. So this week's Dynamite from March 26, 2025. It's from Mr. Brock's area. It was in the Twin Cities, coming from St. Paul, Minnesota. And the show opened up with Kenny Omega versus Blake Christian. I was very impressed with this match. Kenny Omega actually pulled back a little bit on this, way more than I had seen him, and it really gave Blake Christian a chance to shine, at least until the very end when Kenny hit his greatest hits, basically. Brock, you were obviously there. What was the crowd like at this place? Was it hot? I know AEW, a lot of times what we kind of knock them on sometimes is even the crowd is kind of sitting on their hands for some of this stuff. But if you were there and the crowd was hot, that automatically gives it a better show rating.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, it was in Minnesota. We have such a huge indie following here and just wrestling fan base to start with. Where, there's a huge reaction when Kenny came out. Great pyrotechnics there too. I think it helped that the place was a little smaller. So you really felt it. I mean, it looked more packed than it was. Yeah, they definitely started out with a bang with Kenny. The crowd was into it right away. Kind of like you said, I was surprised he toyed with him as much as he did. I thought it was going to be a quick fight over and done.
Hound Dog, did you catch most of this match, or?
I did, and I see what you're saying about Kenny toying with somebody who clearly didn't have a chance at winning. And I've had this theory I've kind of been saying for a little bit. I think Kenny is kind of starting his retirement tour, if you will, or at least the end of his time with AEW and New Japan. He may end up in WWE for like a quick run and do a Mania type deal. But I think he's starting to try to get the next crop ready because, he is definitely closer to the end than the beginning now. And I know he's not everybody's cup of tea. Kenny happens to be my cup of tea. And yeah, I'm excited for it. And I believe he's a good, solid worker to help elevate the younger talent. I think he will make a lot of people look better than they are, but he will also give folks the confidence to believe they are that good. And as well as I do, Steve, it takes a lot of confidence to go out there. And once you have it, you'll start walking in it.
I agree with that. So this match led to, it was kind of almost more for the promo afterwards between Kenny, Speedball, Mike Bailey, and then Ricochet via satellite. I've been a fan of Speedball Mike Bailey for a long time. I've watched a lot of TNA over the last couple months and the last year, I guess it would be. And he is very, very good, very impressive. And I give Kenny Omega a lot of credit for this promo. This was one of his better off-the-cuff promos, it seemed. And normally he almost seems over-rehearsed. This seemed more like he was just kind of working off of what was being said to him, and I actually enjoyed that. I don't say this enough about Kenny Omega, but he proved here kind of how smart and how creative he is as far as just being able to be funny at given moments.
Oh, I was going to say, and I don't know if it was reflected, we did watch a show after on the camera, but when Speedball started by saying what a big fan was, just with one word when Kenny said thanks, the way he said it, the arena erupted. And from that point,
they started cracking up.
He had them, and he was hilarious. And he held the crowd after that. And I got to say, I was so stoked to see Mike Bailey as well. I got to see his debut a couple weeks ago, but a year ago, he was in Minnesota at an indie show. And yeah, seeing that dude live, man, he's the Speedball for a reason. He's fun.
He's so good. This is one of those things where I wouldn't be me if I didn't nitpick it a little bit. There's one point for Speedball that I would have changed what he said, and he calls the title Kenny's title. Like he says, "I'm coming after your title." I would have had him say, "I'm coming after the title." It makes it seem like he's already doubting the fact that he can take it. And again, I'm nitpicking. I'm super nitpicking. I want to point that out. For the most part, I actually really enjoyed this segment here. What you got for us, Hound Dog?
It is Kenny's title. He's the holder right now. So he's like, "I'm coming after your title." It's okay. It's like if I'm coming to your house, I'm not coming to the house. Like,
it's okay. To the house.
But no, semantics. But yeah, man, I enjoyed it very much. Speedball. I wasn't very familiar with him, and I can't remember the TNA pay-per-view that I tuned in late for. And because Steve sent me the message, like, "Hey, this is on." I was like, "Oh, let me turn it on." As soon as I turned it on, it was Speedball getting like poison rotted off the turnbuckle onto the outside, and I was like, "Oh, good, Mike Bailey's dead." Like, and that's just my initial reaction was seeing him die.
I think it was him in like Laredo Kid or something like that.
It was something where I was just like, "Oh, good, they're all dead. This is terrible." But no, he's fantastic, and I am loving heel Ricochet. They have turned the worst promo guy in history into somebody I look forward to seeing, and I'm becoming a big Ricochet fan. Yeah, well, it's like he is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. He's so bad, he's wonderful.
I like that he shows up via satellite because he's getting married. But it's on a Wednesday, and he's a big star. Who gets married on a Wednesday? Like that was kind of where I was at. I was like, who gets married on a Wednesday? People in the wrestling business, because they work every other day.
I mean, that's true, yeah.
The only thing that I think, if you listen to the end of this promo too, unfortunately, since people are coming along with Ricochet being the heel now a little bit, he said he wasn't going to lose to Omega or the cornball. And if you listen, a cornball chant starts a little bit at the end. I'm like, that might not be a good start for Mike Bailey.
Or it could be endearing. It could be Mike Bailey.
Yeah.
It could be Mike Bailey's nugget moment.
Now he changes. Yeah, he completely changes from the speedball to the cornball.
I love that.
Love it. I would love it. We get a quick backstage segment here with Jericho where he challenges Bandito to a masked first title match for the Ring of Honor title. It's Jericho. It's kind of where we're at with Jericho stuff and the Ring of Honor title. I would just prefer a Ring of Honor show at this point. Just let's give us a televised Ring of Honor show all the time. But then Hound, adults in the room. We get MJF answering MVP's offer. And Hound, you and I are fans of both of these guys.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see where this is going. Because inevitably MJF turns on anybody he's with.
Everybody.
Now the question is, when does he get the cojones, if you will, to turn on the Hurt Syndicate? And then that's if they accept him. Because I'll be honest with you, if I was put in a position to then be the singles title holder, flanked by them, whatever you say, gentlemen, at all times. Like, even though I got the singles title, like, I'm carrying your bags. It's fine.
I'm not doing anything against Shelton and Bobby Lashley.
No, absolutely not. Because Shelton will knee me in the corner like he does to people, and he's very mean when he does. He's a mean human. He hurts people, Steve. He hurts people.
It's what he does. Did you guys notice? Well, Brock, you were there. Shelton Benjamin got a huge Shelton pop during this, as he should. He's kind of a Minnesota icon at this point. Yep. Like he was part of Minnesota, the University of Minnesota. He was an assistant coach while Brock Lesnar was there. He's a Minnesota guy at this point. I don't care if he's from South Carolina.
Yeah, that was a cool part of the show. There was quite a few of those people there. We got a lot of Minnesota pops there, but he was definitely one. I mean, not the biggest by far, but it was fun. And there was a big MJF pop too. I mean, it was a really fun segment. Everybody was waiting for him, and he did what he did. We were sitting and loving him making fun of Minnesota.
That's what happens. Hound, Brock, do you think that does this go into we get Lashley versus MJF?
Eventually, yes. I'm kind of hoping AEW doesn't do what AEW does here and give me a storyline that I can sink my teeth into, and then they speed run it to the end. And then I also hope they don't do what they've done with Moxley and the Disappointment Riders.
Oh, the Mox Riders.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What have we called them at this point? The Mox World Order, the Dick Riders,
the Mox World Order, the Boar Horsemen, the Dick Riders. What was your other one? The Death Riding.
Oh my
World
gosh,
Order
the John Moxley World Organization of Disappointment.
There was that one. That was a good one. Here's the other thing. MVP seemed to be making this decision on his own for this. Could this be MVP splitting off? In which case, if we get MJF and MVP together, I said this before, that would kind of be like having Roman and Heyman together, or like Punk and Heyman together. Like, we got two guys that are together that can talk. And neither one of them actually needs the other one, but why the hell not, you know?
I think it might be just a touch too soon to split MVP from the Hurt Syndicate. I kind of think they're synonymous with each other. And I think it's going to take more than, I'm intrigued by the young kid from Long Island, as opposed to that. It's just the optics aren't there yet, but I'm looking forward to, and I'm hoping this is something that keeps MJF away from a title and then heading towards it for about 6 months. And then we see, okay, this is the path he walked, and here's the rocket back to the title. That's kind of what I'm hoping happens with this.
I like it. I like it. Immediately afterwards, we get Big Bill and Brian Keith coming out, and MVP tears these two guys apart on the mic. Absolutely destroys them. And Hound, you and I have said this for a while now. This is proof that there are levels to this, and MVP is on a different level than most of AEW at this point. At least most of the guys that talk on the mic.
Who is on the level with MVP? I mean, it would have to be MJF. Swerve has gotten shockingly good.
I think Swerve is on the level. I think
Yeah,
Swerve, MJF. I mean, at least in AEW, I don't know too many people in WWE that are. I don't know too many people in wrestling that are on level with MVP at this point.
Well, I think he's sitting on the level just below the Romans, the Heymans, the Codys, all of that. So, I mean, do I call him top of the mountain? Absolutely not. But he certainly is gatekeeping getting into that little party.
He's pretty close to that top.
Yeah.
Which Mr. Brock, again, aspiring independent pro wrestling, study MVP, study those guys, if nothing else, study their cadence. They hold a certain way of talking and things like that when you're doing it.
I'm studying you two, man. You're critical.
Oh, ignore us. I'm just a giant idiot from New Jersey. I don't know what I'm talking about.
So is MJF.
When he says giant, he means it. He's 6'9".
Hell yeah.
That's why he's my pheasant.
It's annoying. I hate it. But I know when it rains before most people.
I love watching your head.
I do instinctively duck through every doorway.
Every doorway. I've seen him do it. And
actually, Steve, I think Steve might have been there. So Steve knows my family for years. We would go see my father's band play, and we walked into a place, and nobody warned me the ceiling fans were low, and I just walked in and whack right into my forehead with a ceiling fan blade because nobody let me know we were walking into a place that was 6 inches above my head.
I think it was one of those.
And that one room in Pete and Elda's where I've got to walk through like bent over.
Yep.
Lovely.
The great New Jersey locations. Oh man, Hound Dog. We get a match after the whole MJF MVP segment. This kind of has you written all over it too, and that's Brody King versus Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, 100%. That's got me written all over. You got Brody King in there. Kyle Fletcher is out of his mind. I'm just happy to see Kyle Fletcher did not attempt to shank somebody in this match like he did Will Ospreay, because he stabbed him in the ribs, because Kyle Fletcher is a mean, mean man. And I wanted to be his friend. Now I don't want to be his friend. He's not invited to the birthday party. He is a mean, mean man. Brody King, however, should be my best friend.
He should come to the birthday party.
Brody King, I will.
You guys can eat all the cake.
He can have all the cake. I've lost a lot of weight, so I don't even get to have cake anymore. But Brody could have the cake. I'll have the salad.
I love that Brody went back to the short tights here. I think it's a better look for him. The other thing that I want to point out is during this segment, Tony Schiavone calling Don Callis the worst. That happened. It's like
Okay.
I just need to give you that one, Hound Dog.
So, Brock, I don't know if you're familiar with the fact that Steve hates Tony Schiavone. Like, he is the worst of all time. Mm-hmm. And we've been having this.
I also don't really like Don Callis.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, I thought Don Callis was another, like, like the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, like something like that, like the Trauma films. It's like, oh, he's so bad, he's good. But then I started listening to Don Callis and watching him, and like I was telling Steve, his head is like slightly off, and like just like he's something. It's just not right with Don, and it bothers me. And so for him and Schiavone to sit there and basically argue over who is worse. And it's beautiful. It's magnifique, if you will. But it's a what? Oh my gosh! There's an old 311 song. It's a beautiful disaster.
Oh, it's
There you go.
I will say this. The follow-up to Tony Schiavone calling Don Callis the worst is the best because it's Taz with a Tazism. And he literally goes, freaking Carney Jones over here.
He was talking to both of them.
He was talking about both of them. I'm positive of it. Oh, my God.
I love Taz so much.
The end of the match, Fletcher hits him with a brainbuster on the turnbuckle, which... Jesus Christ, Brody King. Like, be careful.
Like you do.
Like you do. Let's go back to Tony Schiavone on this one, guys. Tony Schiavone. I think that knocked him out. Or I think that knocked him out, Taz. Gold. Solid freaking gold.
Teamwork's going to be important. In a tag match? No kidding, Schiavone.
Oh, man.
Did you go back at the picture that I told you to take a look at when they showed the commentary team and everybody's like there in their suits?
Yeah, and
then Schiavone's off to the side of the table behind it. So you see all of him and he's hunched over like this and he's just got this like this Weasley like me look like he doesn't want to be there.
Doesn't want to be there. I'm positive they just have him on a contract at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I
love it.
Brock, welcome to our show. This is what we do on the normal when it's just not me and you, and it's a normal show. This is where we're at, bud. Oh man. Also, Mr. Brock has offered to start helping us fill in some episodes here and there, so I'm looking forward to it.
Hell yeah!
I mean, he's been part of the Legion forever anyway.
True. I need to promote myself too, man. I'm on the way to the ring.
Heck yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Well, I will promote the absolute crap out of you, sir. First of all, you're from Minnesota. I've been there a couple times, and everybody I met in Minnesota was the nicest human ever. It like almost scared me, and yeah, it was really awesome.
It's mostly true, like it really is. But I mean, we're also really catty behind closed doors, like everyone is. Not any more than anyone else. So that's the difference. We're so nice on the other side that we can still just act as shitty as everyone else, and it's still covered.
I love it. I mean, because listen, I am flagrantly an Italian from the New York, New Jersey area. Like you get me going a little bit, and the New York accent will start coming out.
Gabagool.
Yeah, we tolerate you there.
Really?
Oh.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yeah, be extra catty when I'm not around. It's like, oh, don't you know?
Yeah, no, I've got a lot of crazy stuff ahead of me this year, so I'd love to be a part of this. And this is fun. Man. I mean, I got to study wrestling nonstop. It was funny. I was talking to my trainer right now, or a little earlier today. He called and he asked what I was doing, and I said studying. He goes, "What match are you watching?" And so I was watching. Actually, I was watching the documentary on ruthless aggression on Peacock, trying to catch up on old Coach Ken Anderson.
Oh, Mr. Kennedy.
I love
it. Go back, watch. If you watch Ken Anderson, Mr. Kennedy's match against Batista, I forget what his first world title match, what pay-per-view was that. But if you look, he does little things at the beginning of that match that it's like 15 years later and it's stuck with me. Like he never takes his eye.
That's all he teaches, man. It's the tiniest things. And I'm sure every coach is the same. You practice how you are in the ring. You know, you're constantly working like that. But he's a do it again, little things.
Yep.
And obviously you see it in his performance. And I didn't know he was a guy who came to the game so late. He told us on the first day, he goes, I didn't even watch wrestling until I was 21.
That's crazy. I remember I saw a shot of him from TNA way early, and he was basically a cruiserweight at the time. It was crazy. I had never seen him that young before. All right, let's get on to some more of this Dynamite stuff.
Yeah, enough about me.
Yeah, we'll get more into Mr. Brock once we get through Dynamite a little bit more. So that match, the Brody King Kyle Fletcher match, kind of jumpstarts Mark Davis versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Maybe it was different live. Watching it on TV, this seemed like a real quick match, almost like a Hobbs squash match on Davis. And I don't know. I'm just a big believer that Powerhouse Hobbs needs to be produced. I think he needs something. I don't know what that something is, but he needs someone behind the scenes to tell him, hey, you need to do one thing differently. I don't even know what that one thing is, but he's just lost me a little bit here and there.
He definitely is missing something. You know, how many times, Steve, we said, you know, insert performer X here needs that one thing, needs that moment to catch lightning in a bottle. We use Sol Ruka for that many times when we were discussing like how we think she's so close to the next thing. She just needs that opportunity. I think he needs the right program. I don't think he even need, like, too many people think that putting a title on somebody immediately means something. No, the title can't make the man. The man has to make the title. And that's where you're going to see far too many people fail. Powerhouse Hobbs has every physical gift you could look for. And he's not bad on the mic. And he can get the crowd behind him. You know, I believe he can very, very easily get heel heat just because he's so big and powerful. But at the same point, he's likable. So he certainly can get the crowd behind him. I don't know if he needs a... I almost wish he would get in the Hurt Syndicate and let MVP kind of let MVP steer that ship for a little while with Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, go under the learning tree, if you will, of Shelton, of Bobby Lashley, and ride the roads with them, spend the time with them. That's really all he needs. He has every physical tool. He's like a Big E. He's like a more athletic Big E.
Yeah. I think one of the worst things that happened for Powerhouse Hobbs was because he was part of Team Taz originally when they came in. And I think it was them transitioning Taz more to the commentary booth than being a manager. Because at one point, I was a big believer that Taz was the best manager they had in the beginning during the pandemic era and stuff like that. I think him working with Taz would have been gold for him for about a year, and they cut it off too quickly.
Maybe that's what it is. You might have just stumbled directly into what the problem is they got him into the starting block and fired the pistol for the race, but didn't help him face the direction he's supposed to be running. So
he's running backwards.
He may have just taken off in the wrong direction right now. So I think you stumbled into that there. So really, I think that's all it is he needs some time under some more learned folks. He needs some time with some tutelage because he's got everything you need and then some. And there's no reason why 2-3 years from now we're not talking about, hey, this Powerhouse Hobbs world title run has been really, really great. It's been this, he has everything there, and I'd love to see him reach it.
So it's interesting, you guys. I'll touch on that because that was actually probably my most disappointed I was in any of the matches because I am a big Powerhouse fan. And there was something about the intro that I just think they dropped the ball on a little bit. I mean, I don't know what they would have done better, but I loved the transition. That was great, how they were setting that up. But I think it was the way that Fletcher set up in the ring was too obvious. He was coming from somewhere else. And then, which would have been great if then they turned it another way and he came from somewhere else and it was a bigger intro because we were all waiting for Hobbs. We all knew it was Hobbs, right? But it was like, they gave us an easy surprise where he was coming from, and then I was disappointed. You either give him a big intro to start with and build it up, or just they were so close to doing something big, and then I felt like after that the match was, like you say, it was quick. It was quick. It was quick, and then it was over, and it was like, oh, that was my Hobbs live moment. Darn.
It's funny too because it was him and Mark Davis, and I feel like Mark Davis is still at this point where, even though he's been working steadily with the Don Callis family, and he's been working steadily with Ospreay and them since kind of coming back off of injury or whatever it was, I feel like the AEW crowd still doesn't actually know who Mark Davis is.
Can you blame them? The AEW crowd doesn't know who 90% of the roster is. Let's be real here. It's just true.
I was waiting for one of you guys to say the name, honestly, because I didn't remember it.
See? And you watched it live.
Yeah. And I've seen him many times. I always forget his name.
And it frustrates me because Mark Davis is talented.
He's very talented.
It's
he
just
needs to take Dunkzilla off of his tights because I don't know what that means. But
I knew it was something Zilla, and I was wrong.
It's like Dunkzilla or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't believe he can dunk a basketball. The only thing he's dunking is an Oreo.
Maybe that's what it is.
If that's the case, and he's doing a self-rib on the fact that he's dunking Oreos, or maybe they're the Australian Oreos, whatever they, Oreo mates, whatever the hell they call them.
Oh my God, Dunkaroos.
Oh, there it is.
We figured it out.
We did. See, we cracked the code here, Mr. Brock. All we do is we have discussions about these things, and now we know that Dunkzilla is just a big fan of Dunkaroos.
Dude, they just made a comeback a few years ago. It all lines up.
See?
Perfect.
Boom.
I'm in. All right. Immediately following that match, we get a little quick interaction between Hangman and Swerve backstage. It was very quick, but I liked it. It was there was a lot of passion involved. I'm hoping that they do keep Hangman and Swerve away from each other for a little while longer, at least until either one of them gets the title at this point. And then we get a rated FTR sit down hosted by Tony Schiavone. Great.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of tuned out for that.
It wasn't worth watching. It was like a Dr. Phil moment.
It was weird. Yeah.
And the only good part of it was after they came back from it. If you listen to commentary, Taz goes, "Wow, you did a great job at that interview."
Yeah.
Taz is ribbing Schiavone at this point. I'm positive of it.
Every time Taz says something to Schiavone, or who was it? Was it Nigel McGuinness saying something to Schiavone? I love Taz so much. It's what's in the box? It's a giraffe with its head between its legs.
That's a real line, Brock.
And Brock with Brock's shirt on right now. Taz's greatest line of all time. Well, he better watch out. He's got something up his sleeves, but he's got no shirt on, so he's got no sleeves.
Oh, modern day Yogi Berra.
Oh,
I love that. Taz
future ain't what it used to be.
Taz is a modern day Yogi Berra.
And because he said Yogi Berra, I have to do it. How about them Yankees 3-0? Judge is hitting 4 million home runs in 11 at bats. I love it.
Didn't you guys just break your record, 9 home runs in a game or something?
3 home runs on the first 3 pitches off of a guy they just traded. Nestor Cortez is like, "Hi, friends." No. F you, Nestor.
I'll kill you. You're no longer friends with us. Seats taken.
Seats taken.
All right. All right. Let's get into what I consider the most interesting part of the show, and that was Swerve calling out Mox. I'm saying that a John Moxley segment was the most interesting part of the show. Hound, when was the last time I've said that? Before you came on the show.
Well, no. When Moxley first came back, before this whole thing had devolved into what this has become, when he came back and it had that romper stomper vibe, and they're like, dude, they might be onto something here. And then they had that really good cinematic shot in the desert of them in the with the dried up clay and the broken up clay ground that they're driving over. And unfortunately, they put Marina Shafir on there because she's as bad as Tony Schiavone. Can't stand her. This was the first time I have seen Moxley doing something that was captivating again a little bit, but it's because for the first time, Moxley appeared nervous.
I agree.
And I like that it seems that he's vulnerable. The only thing I don't like about the fact that it seems that he's vulnerable is I don't believe the title's changing hands, and I think we have to wait longer, and I say boo earns onto that.
I do say boo earns onto that. We need that world title. First of all, we need to see the world title again. We need to get the world title off of Moxley. And honestly, Swerve, this whole segment is just gold. Mm-hmm. His stuff is amazing during this segment. Especially the end line that he hits him with. You want to talk about unscripted violence? I am violence. You've led pints, I've led buckets. You've been in Texas death matches, I've won them. Like, come on, like that. Swerve is as good as they promote him to be, and I've never said it on the show, but I believe it now. Plus, he's got Nana dancing, which is amazing.
There's that, and Swerve is starting to believe it too. Like, his character came off as cocky, but I believe that the merging of the character and the human, like, is really happening, where this is now becoming his actual confidence, since becoming more than just a gimmick. He's really becoming this confident person, and Swerve is incredible. He's incredible. He's like, if we were discussing like a baseball prospect, he'd be like a 5-tool player.
Absolutely.
Swerve. I have such high hopes for him. I really, really hope I'm wrong and they take the title off Moxley and put it on Swerve. And I agree. We do need to see the world title. And at this point, it's been in a case so long, I hope it comes out a different world title.
I could see that. I also like the I'll continue the Dynasty era and you continue going to play John Moxley on TV.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool line. Brock, again, you were there, man. What was this segment like being there? Like, what was the crowd like? Because it seemed like the crowd was super into this. This one.
Time.
This was
and it was all Swerve. If it wasn't for him, I mean, no one was that pumped when Moxley came out. Honestly, I think everyone's kind of sick of the Moxley storyline. And I think the most exciting thing was which corner is he going to walk out of, right? If you're hoping you're sitting in the right spot. But no, but at the same time, whatever. It's something. Like you said, it was kind of cool to see a real confrontation in the middle of the ring for once, rather than this just stupid beat 'em up the whole time. And yeah, Swerve got a huge reaction, man. Everyone was behind Swerve, a lot of chanting. I can't even. There was multiple chants for him throughout it. But we were definitely Team Swerve by the end of that.
Hell yeah, and we're getting. It seems like this is leading to Willow versus Marina. I'm sorry, Hound.
I mean, listen, I am spoken for, so Willow is my now former wrestling crush. Doesn't change the fact that she's absolutely adorable. But yes, unfortunately, they're going to feed Willow to Marina Shafir here, which means Willow has to carry Marina Shafir through some kind of a match.
And then lose.
And then lose, yeah. I mean, which means Marina's in good hands. Willow's in horrible hands.
Yeah, like, I hope Willow comes out of this unhurt.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm getting very much old Nia Jax vibes with Marina Shafir right now, and she's taking liberties with people. Like, we've talked about this. If I was in AEW and I had to do a storyline with the crap riders, and they were like, "Oh, Marina Shafir's gonna hug you and you're gonna pass out like that," and she took, listen, man, it's for that moment. I'm identifying. She's getting chokeslammed.
Identifying as a Marina Shafir for at least a moment.
Yes.
Not as a woman, just as Marina Shafir.
I just identify as a Marina Shafir for a moment. Chokeslam her and walk out.
So, Mr. Brock, I'm going to bring this one up, even though it was kind of a quicker little bit of a squash match. But these are your boys. That is Top Flight. Had a little bit of a squash match with Royal Flush, I believe is the tag team name. Royal Flavor. See, that's.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some time to plug all of those guys because they're Minnesota boys. And I actually got a really funny story about Top Flight, which says terrible things about me, as far as a fan. But I took my girlfriend Ashley to an indie match. At the end of it, the lights go out and then they come back on. And the guy comes out in the center of the ring and everyone's cheering like crazy and going nuts. She's like, "Oh my gosh, he's on AEW." I'm going, "No, that's Darius." She's like, "No, he's not AEW." I was like, "No, I train with him at the academy sometimes. It's Darius, super nice guy." And then she pulls up a picture. She's like, "We watched him last week." I just am that green in the industry where I guess I don't pay attention too much. And he's that cool and humble of a dude that I had no idea. So ever since, I've been a massive Top Flight fan. Love everything they do. I've never met Dante, but Darius is great. And then to see, we didn't know Royal Flavor was it. They kept that hush hush from everyone, as they should. But it was cool for us. I was sitting with a bunch of indie fans from the area who we could see the silhouette of Alex Finley in the ring. And we all were like, oh my gosh. And none of us knew. And so we're just all hyped up then. And then sure enough, lights come on. It's Royal Flava. And Royal Flava has been the tag team in the Midwest for a while now. I mean, they were carrying every belt last year. And they're just so damn entertaining. And they're young guys who've only been around for like 2 years, but have just crushed it since they hit it. So it's so cool for us to see. A little disappointing there was no big entrance, but you get why they couldn't do that because you can't promote both of them in one. They're both hometown heroes. And obviously it was about Top Flight, which like you said, it was a quick squash match, but they put on a great show. I mean, it was fun to see those. And now here's the fun part. On the indie side, there is a huge uproar of please bring Top Flight versus Royal Flava. Everybody wants to see that. So it was a very like sweet moment for all of us indie fans. We all ran home and like we're watching it on TV and everyone's congratulating them on Facebook because they're very cool guys too, who are very good to their fans. Yeah, it was, again, that was one of, you get a couple of those. Well, I'm sure you guys have had so much of that being in the industry so long when you see your friends make it, right? When you're like, yep, I wrestled with that guy. That was my first. That was the first time I got to see people that, I talked to after all their shows, shook their hands, high and by, get to see them at training, and then boom, there they are. I mean, it was really cool.
That's awesome, man. No, it feels good when you get to see some of your other friends. When you get to see your friends make it too, like, we're big on that. And, except for Hound, I want him to fall down all the time.
And deservedly so.
Mainly just because it's funny when he falls down.
It takes a long time for me to fall.
it's a lot of Hound, I feel like I'm saying this to you for like a lot during this review of this show, but we get another match that has you written all over it, and that's Mark Briscoe versus Konosuke Takeshita.
Takeshita.
Your feud is done.
That's true. All right, I can admit the feud was never real. Fool you.
Oh, no, it was real.
It was real. So
it was real. So just to you.
So to bring Mr. Brock in on what happened. So Steve said something. So he's like, so what are you going to do if Takeshita like hit you with a lariat? And I was like, well, I'm going to no sell it, and then I'm going to hit him back, and I'm going to cut him in half. Like, just being whatever. And then this progressed for months of me telling Takeshita, which he's never heard, that I was going to kick his ass. It just progressed and progressed and progressed.
It's the thing.
Going where we actually did with it.
Well, I mean, I was hoping that at some point we'd be at some kind of like a WrestleCon, and he would see me and run over and just like flying knee me, and Steve would get it on camera, and and then him yell at me in Japanese and basically, to say talk shit, get hit in Japanese while I'm just laying there like, it would have been perfect.
There's still time.
That's what I was really hoping. But nah, because I mean his Twitter handle is Take Soup. He's gonna be my best friend. He's gonna be a complete idiot like me. It's perfect.
I love Takeshita.
So good.
And I could watch these two wrestle all day. Briscoe and Takeshita.
I could watch. Yes, and I mean you got what is it? Redneck Kung Fu versus Takeshita, who throws the meanest forearm shot of all time.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought this was one of my favorite matches out of all of them. It was so damn entertaining, and Briscoe was hilarious. I mean,
he's the best.
Yeah, you put the two of them together, like you said. You summed it up perfectly. Hillbilly Kung Fu. It was so
Hillbilly Kung Fu. Mark Briscoe is a national treasure.
Yeah, he is. And Mr. Brock, have you gone down the Briscoe Brothers rabbit hole?
I just started after that match. No, really, like that was my, okay, I'm a Mark Briscoe fan, and I started.
Go and look up their old promos and find the one where Jay May, rest in peace, steals his dad's cigar and shoes, and him and Mark are yelling at each other in front of his dad's house, and they pull knives on each other, and then the dad comes out in his underwear and basically takes the belt off and whips both of their heads.
Yes.
So good.
Who Papa Briscoe is no joke. He's like this giant of a man.
I mean, listen, they are who they are. Them are some rednecks from Sandy Fork, Delaware.
They are dem boys.
They are them boys. I've been to Sandy Fork, Delaware. There's nothing there.
Nothing.
There's chicken farms. That's it.
Chicken. Oh, man. So in between this match, which ended hellaciously, Briscoe hit Takeshita with the meanest J driller I've ever seen in my life, and then Takeshita getting his foot on the ropes and finishing him off with what does he do? He does the broken arrow finisher that he does. I always forget the
Raging
flaming
Fire.
Raging Fire. Thank you. He calls it Raging Fire. That was a hell of an ending too. Again, I could watch these two fight all day, every day. Like this was a great match. You get a little bit of clarity as to why the Hurt Syndicate doesn't want MJF. And then we get our main event, which is Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne versus Timeless Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa. Hound knows this. Mr. Brock, just so you know, I'm a fan of all four of these women. I think Penelope Ford is grossly underutilized in the women's division. I think Megan Bayne has a huge potential upside. And I think they need to stop flip-flopping Thunder Rosa's gimmick so much. She needs to stop just being happy to be here.
Thunder Rosa is too damn good to just be happy to be there.
Just be happy to be here. By the way, I love her and Toni Storm's tag team name. Thunder Tits. Let's go, Thunder Tits.
Yeah. Toni Storm's a star. Everything she does. That was the person I was most excited to see. That was for good reason, right?
I didn't know that was their tag team name.
I didn't know that was their tag team name, and I was not prepared for that.
Oh, and the beauty was the obvious one's Thunder Storm, right?
Yeah.
But Tony chimes in came up with Thunder Tits. It was beautiful.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm 11. I can't help it.
The last time I heard Hound laugh like this after an AEW thing was Mariah May throwing Anna Jay's suitcase down the hallway, and me going, "What a bitch!" This bitch.
I was not prepared. Say, Mariah May throws Anna Jay's stuff out there. I have written here, "What a bitch!" This bitch right here.
This bitch. Oh man.
Thunder Tits. Holy moly.
Oh man.
I'm getting you a shirt.
I'm getting you a Thunder Tits shirt, he says. That's amazing. All right, so
my girl will kill me if she sees me in that.
She will. Yes. It'll be all right. So Megan Bayne ends up getting the pin over Toni Storm. That's huge. That leads into their confrontation going into Dynasty. Real quick, the stuff I want to go over for Collision. Mercedes Moné officially announces that she's in the Owen Hart tournament on the women's side. She said she wants competition. That could be where she really goes after the women's world title, in which case we would get Mercedes Moné versus Toni Storm. I don't hate it. Here's where I'm okay with it, Hound, because I know we didn't quite go over this yet. She gets into it with Athena from Ring of Honor, the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. Are we going to finally get what we've been asking for months, which is Mercedes versus Athena? And if Athena takes the TBS title off of her, then I'm okay with Mercedes going after the world title.
I am a firm believer that at all times we're going to have a belt on Mercedes, because it's one of those things where I think if she doesn't have that, first of all, I'm convinced she'll throw a hissy fit because she's the CEO. But we learned what to chant right away from her music. They helped us.
They told us.
But yes, but I'm also, like I said, if they're going to have Athena take this, which, as you're saying that, I could see Mercedes becoming Mercedes 37 belts and then adding the ROH women's title to her menagerie, which, listen, it's not the worst thing in the world, though. It's really not, because we're finally getting folks in there. And you and I, how many times have we said it? It's not that she can't go. It's that she's this big
and can't talk.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's a pocket human. Like, I literally could steal her and she could live in my pocket and I could feed her crumbs. She's that little.
I've seen humans smaller than her come out, or bigger than her come out of your pocket. I've
This
seen
is
it.
true.
That's to say I saw it.
I saw it.
All right. We get an official announcement that Adam Cole will be getting his last shot at the TNT title at Dynasty against Daniel Garcia. And you get a little bit more, you see a little bit more of the cracks between Rated FTR with Dax and Cash actually getting into a shoving match on this one. So I think this is a little bit of a red herring. I think they're going to end up turning on Copeland. I won't call him the other name.
Yeah.
Come Adam Edgeland, if you will.
Adam Edgeland. Listen, Steve, I mean, it's Cope. He's earned the right to be called what he wants. How dare you, sir? I pulled that card on you. Yes, I did. Okay?
Right, so we're going to move on to Intercontinental Champions.
Hell yeah.
That's All right, guys. So we're going to have a list. We got a list of, I'm going to cut it down to 5 Intercontinental Champions. Because we're going into WrestleMania season, me and Hound have decided we are going to talk about stuff that we want to talk about for wrestling. Fun stuff. People that we like to talk about. And that is why we are here, Legion. But before we get into that, Mr. Brock, I want you to give us some promotional stuff for you. Tell us stuff that you got going on in your world, sir.
Thank you. Man, so you introduced me at first as former star of Coal Mine. I don't think you said star, but we're going to go with that.
Host. Former host of Coal Mine. Formerly of Coal Mine.
Yeah, Coal Mine was fun. We did a fun pot that's how we became friends. Transitioned to Twin City Double Up. That was less fun because I was doing it by myself and just kind of treading water. Now it's transitioned into pretty much working full-time with Bully Brand with a bunch of their different stuff. I'm doing little interviews with them on a segment called Talk About It, which is fun. We've been getting bigger interviews with tattoo and rap legend Sten Jotti's one of them. I'm sure I'll have Ken Anderson at some point, but I really got a street talk him on that. Yeah, doing a lot more trying to promote the brand. And on top of that, my wrestling career. It kind of started out as a let's see if I can do it. But 3 months in now, and I've done a couple things that made me feel like, hey, I can do that. I know, Steve, you saw my clothesline backward elimination. That was when I said, okay, I'm going to start hitting this harder. And I got some big stuff on the horizon that I'll be announcing along the way. But as of right now, I'm in like sprint Rocky, right before Apollo Creed mode of just getting in shape as much as I can and hitting my training hard. So really, if you want to follow my stuff, you can just follow me on Brock Melander on Facebook. That links out to everything out with Bully Brand is the other thing. You find anything with Bully Brand. And hopefully, man, I'd love to come on here more. I was excited when I talked to Steve yesterday, and he was saying that, hey, we're talking AEW and looking for someone to pop on a little more. And we've always had a good time talking. Hound, if you're friends with Steve, means I can tolerate you too. Right?
we tolerate Hound.
Yeah.
Victor. See, he's living up to what he said. Minnesota will tolerate me.
We'll tolerate
They'll tolerate my Goomba ass.
The Midwest will tolerate you, Hound.
Yeah, so I'll do one for Bully Brand, just so I didn't really say what it was. It's a clothing company, a streetwear that my buddy started, and he's got a huge heart for pit bulls, pit bull rescues. So what they do is they sell T-shirts and merch, promote a lot of wrestlers. They provide a lot of the shirts for wrestlers in order to get some money so they can help rehome dogs. We're trying to grow the business this year and do a little more of that. I've kind of come in to take care of, I don't know, the organization. Dustin's the dreamer. I'm the realistic. No, I'm not. I don't even know what I am. Maybe you just need someone who's a little less of a dreamer to organize. Right? It's easy to be.
Sometimes you just need somebody.
Yeah, if there's two like crazy scatterbrained people in the room, the one who's lesser kind of has to take that role. So I think that's what I am in this. I don't know what my job is. I have a lot of titles that like I don't get paid for. I'm also
wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, I'm a marketing director for a ministry. You know that? Yeah, so I work with.
I was gonna say I knew you'd love that one, Hound.
Yeah.
I love that.
I know. Well, why don't I do a plug for that? AIM Ministries, very near and dear to my heart. That's been a huge project I've been working on with them. My friend started it 7 years ago. It's been like totally just floating on the grace of God through donations. But I want to make it so he's 65 or something like that. He's nearing the end where he needs to just be the face of the company. And we need to start bringing on a new staff and people to run it so he can go on autopilot. So I'm doing a huge push with fundraising this year. And actually, this is what I want you guys to click on if you want. Hound. He wrote a book. I forgot what it was. A couple years back, he wrote a book about his life. And this man, Dennis Otto, he was a former mayor, fire chief, meth runner, biker. I mean, he was like this guy who did it all. Finally got locked up for, I think he was looking at 110 months. Came out 4 years later, like was still just kind of a hardened thug. Then boom, like crazy overnight, gave his life to Christ. 20 years clean and sober off meth, has started this addiction ministry where this dude, like, he's on call 24/7. He's in and out of prisons. He's walking along with men who are trying to get their lives together. The ministry is really cool. They focus big time on families. So it's not just helping the addicts, it's helping their families get through the horrible process. But I mean, walking along with them. And then this last year, we upped the ministry and started a fishing ministry within it. So it's all about getting families together, getting out and doing that. Because a lot of these guys don't have the resources to go take their family out for a fun day. So we provide like just a free family picnic where everyone gets together. The big motto with Dennis is the opposite of addiction is connections. So all we do is just make connections. And the thing about Mr. Brock is I like people. So from all that, they said, hey, let's slap another job on you. You're going to be the marketing director for this ministry.
I love that. And I'm not gonna start going down because this will take up a lot of time, and we'll start going, and I'll start bringing up different chapter and verse and saying, hey, this and this. We'll talk later and speak about that. But when you were telling me about the fishing ministry in that and what you're doing, just know that 100% dropped in my heart. You're 100% becoming fishers of men. Amen. And just know that from my heart to all of you, you are going to be in my prayers and my girls' prayers, everything. And thank you for sharing that with me.
The best way to support us right now, the money, that's all in God's hands. It comes in its own time. What we need right now is we're pushing out his book for free to everyone. I converted it into a podcast on Spotify and Apple. I'm no longer promoting my own podcast stuff. I'm done. I always felt like God just kind of pushed me to this, and then I'm just going to mooch off everyone else's podcast. Like you
love
guys,
it.
Right?
I love it. Here.
Right? But now the whole world can see it. The book is called That Man Is Dead. You just have to search That Man Is Dead by Dennis Otto. It's on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you can find it. They'll give links. Please follow and subscribe to that.
I will definitely have links down below for you guys.
And you can absolutely donate through that. But our goal is literally just give this book to every single person who you think needs it. Or if you don't, someone will know someone. It's 2 hours long. And it's the story that everybody needs to hear of the worst being redeemed. I mean, it's everybody's story.
I love it.
Dennis OTTO Otto?
OTTO, yep. Dennis Otto, That Man Is Dead. I'll send you all this stuff later. We got to get back on to wrestling. Thank you guys for letting me do that, though.
No, definitely, man. And like I said, we'll have links for all of this in our description below, and we'll keep the links in until Mr. Brock tells us not to. So we'll have Bully Brand links. We'll have links to Dennis Otto's book, all of that stuff in the link in our description below on our YouTube channel, or if you are listening to us on Spotify, Apple, anything like that, it will be in our description from now until the end of time, basically.
Ooh.
But with that said, guys, let's talk some intercontinental champions here. Like I said, what you got for me, Hound Dog?
I was going to say, are we talking, are we anticipating when AEW does the groundbreaking thing of combining the international and the continental title to form the first ever intercontinental title? It's genius.
It's genius. No, we are talking the actual WWE WWF Intercontinental Champion.
It's not real. AEW hasn't made it yet. Duh.
It's not a real title. Yes. As we have said, Hound and I have decided that we are going to jump onto some topics. I believe the next one we might do might be I'll take some info from Hound and Showtime and Mr. Brock. We might all jump on this one and maybe do some tag teams on here as well. I think that one would be a fun one.
You know who I'm picking.
I already know who you're picking. You love them Bushwhackers. And then I'd like to do maybe one leading into Mania with some great wrestlers that are not in the Hall of Fame yet. I think that would be a cool one as well.
I'm in for all of them.
Let's jump into these Intercontinental Champions. So I'm going to start with the first Intercontinental Champion. That is Pat Patterson. Pat is a legend in this business. Aside from being the first ever Intercontinental Champion, he's technically the last ever WWF North American Champion. He then won the title, the Intercontinental title, from after beating Johnny Rodz in a tournament in Rio de Janeiro. I don't know why Rio de Janeiro was in quote marks because that's a real place, but the tournament it happened, I guess, somewhere in someone's brain. There was never a tournament. They just transitioned them. They used to use Rio de Janeiro a lot for that. If there was some title that they needed to switch hands and they needed an excuse as to why, it happened in Rio for some reason. I don't know why that was the place.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I did not see enough of Pat Patterson's stuff. Obviously, it's a little bit before my time, but even in my research, but to be the first ever and to know that, isn't it virtually everyone who's held that title is in the Hall of Fame?
Just virtually. About, yeah. Like I feel like the first 25 years of the belt, everyone that's held the belt is
that title's it's kind of the kingmaker.
Yeah.
So
also things Pat Patterson is well known for. He is the creator of the Royal Rumble. He is the guy that you went to if you needed a finish. Hey, we know where we want to go with the match, but we need a finish. Not to mention the most lovable French Canadian accent ever, because you can't understand a word he says half the time. I remember when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, Bobby Heenan said, "Hey, this will be broadcast later on in your rooms with a translation for Pat Patterson's induction speech." Oh man, I'm sure people who have worked with Pat can say much more than we could ever say. I just needed to bring him on here because, as stated, he is the first ever Intercontinental Champion. He is a legend. He is arguably more well known behind the scenes than he is even for being the first Intercontinental Champion. He was one of those guys with Vince, where Vince was a great idea man for the big picture of things, and Pat Patterson was a wrestling guy, so he was able to take, Vince could get you from A to D, but B and C needed to be filled in, and that was where Pat Patterson came in. So I've always heard really good things about his wrestling mind, and I appreciate that about him. Now then, Hound, we're going to get into someone who is actually still, most of these guys are actually still wrestling. And the next one is going to be the man who has held the Intercontinental Championship more times than anyone. And that is, do we call him Lionheart? Do we call him Y2J? Do we call him the Learning Tree? Le Champion? He's got a lot of names, and he's held a lot of titles, and that is Chris Jericho. He's also the first wrestler to ever hold the WWE or WWF Intercontinental Champion, and he's held the IWGP Intercontinental title. He's the first one to hold both of them.
Yeah, I love that. Listen, anybody... Okay, am I ready for Chris Jericho to just go do Fozzy? Sure. But am I ready for him to just go do Fozzy? Probably not. It's still Chris Jericho. I mean, for crying out loud. If anybody just saw the interaction he had with that kid,
Oh, yeah.
Where the kid was flipping him off, and then the kid showed him that he had abs too. It was perfect. Like,
it was so good.
It was wonderful. But there's not much you can say other than if you want to see how professional wrestling is done right in every capacity, including how you politic backstage and how you're, one of the boys, how you're a wrestler for the crowd and you're a wrestler's wrestler, how you can talk someone into a seat, how you can also have a gimmick that is so incredible that you walk down to the ring, hold the microphone in the middle of the ring, wait for 3 minutes, get emotional, and walk out. And he did that for months. His promo was nothing other than looking like he was about to cry. And it was amazing. So it's anybody who wants to learn anything about pro wrestling and they want to see how it's done at the highest level in every aspect of it, from high flying to technical to brawling, storytelling. You can't do much better than Chris Jericho.
Now, Mr. Brock, what are your feelings on the Jericho, if you will?
I freaking love Chris Jericho. I think, what was my favorite? The Jericho Appreciation Society. What was that thing called?
The Jericho Appreciation Society and the Inner Circle in AEW. He's
the levels he's gone to, but they all just kind of work, but they don't. But they're still. I don't know. It's Jericho. I mean, and it's a little thing. It's his interactions that are getting better. I was a few weeks ago. We were watching, and he was doing a segment. And you didn't even hear the person swear in the crowd, but you saw him go, "That's swearing," and go back to talking just like nothing happened. It was just, and that was all on the spot in the moment. And I died. I went back and watched it like 5 times and laughed just as hard every time. And I'm just like, same with you, Alan. I'm like, Jericho, maybe you should leave, but I'd hate it. But I would just want you around forever, maybe.
I mean, who else could have their own wrestling crews?
Yeah.
Chris Jericho's the only... Yeah.
He's a whole different animal. There's just going to be one. There's only going to be one Jericho.
And literally the cruise is nothing but pro wrestling and party rock. Like it's 80s hair metal bands, basically.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Let's not forget, he's also one of the first recognized, in the modern era at least, undisputed heavyweight world champions. And if you ask him about it, he will tell you he has beaten Stone Cold and The Rock in the same night. Although I don't blame him for telling everyone in the world that, because that is the accomplishment.
The only nickname I miss of his is the Ocho, because he's now the Nueve.
He is the Nueve.
And I'm sorry, while it is more impressive, it ain't the Ocho. And you know as well as I do, ESPN 8 the Ocho. Where else are you going to see insert sport I've never heard of here? That's now my new favorite thing for the next 12 minutes of my life.
Ice stairs. Such a great thing. Oh, man.
I watched curling on there when I was bouncing in a bar one night. We had curling on, and the entire bar got so into it, not knowing what the hell any of us were talking about. But there were 100 people in there screaming at the TVs at curling, just yelling at Jürgen Klergen about he's not sweeping hard enough. And it was wonderful.
It's amazing. And Jericho, while he was the Ocho, should have hosted a show on ESPN 8, the Ocho.
He should have.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's kind of the perfect guy for that too. Like he's kind of that quirky guy. All right, so obviously Jericho, we could probably do an entire show just on Jericho accomplishments. I will say this:
that would be fun, just tracing him.
I think that would be great. We could go back all the way back to like Smoky Mountain stuff and Japan and Japanese stuff and things like that. I know his name is, unfortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, his name is synonymous with some of the other guys that came over from WCW. He is synonymous with the with the Malenkos and the Guerreros and the Benoits. And regardless of how terrible the Chris Benoit situation is, the matches he had with guys like Chris Jericho and Kurt Angle, and the matches that Chris Jericho had with Kurt Angle, those are historic. Those are nail biter matches.
Yes, you're 100% correct. And look, while I understand that we don't talk about the Benoit stuff, and we really shouldn't, but he's also not Voldemort. Like, he's been scrubbed from the record books, but it's okay. It's not like we're harping on it. It's not like we're here promoting or justifying anything that he did by mentioning his name. So exactly. I don't feel weird about that.
All right, so let's move on from Jericho, who has held the title the most amount of times, to the guy that's held the title the second most amount of times, and that's The Miz. This is a guy who doesn't get enough respect even now at this point, and we're finally giving him respect. Like, that's the crazy thing, is it took him 20 years before someone finally put a little bit of respect on his name. He's a 2-time world champion. He's I think an 8-time intercontinental champion. Tag team champion. Yeah, tag team champion, US champion. He's held, I think Jericho holds it 9, and I think The Miz holds it 8, is what it is. Not counting Jericho's IWGP IC title run.
Yeah. So, I mean, anybody in the Legion who's listened will know that how many times have I sung the praises of The Miz and said how many times I wish we could get someone like him over in AEW to spend the time and walk some of these younger talent who are lost through some things, like Powerhouse Hobbs, like we talked about earlier. Him in a program with The Miz, where The Miz walked him through this. And he's going to walk him through it safely. He's going to walk him through everything. He's going to explain why you looked at camera 1 here, why you looked at the hard cam here, why you punched me 3 times here and 4 times here. He's going to walk him through every bit of that, because The Miz has a lot of what Jake the Snake has, and where there's not a wasted motion. So The Miz does not get nearly the credit he deserves. And I challenge you, go back and show me a bad Miz match. The one thing that, when Daniel Bryan was saying, like, you're soft in the ring. Okay, you could say that he wrestled safe, but I mean, heaven forbid you don't get injured. I understand the smarts, but I will say this in Miz's defense. Those matches with Gunther showed that Miz is a dog too. Miz will go. So not enough respect is given to him. He's a Midwest boy. He'll fight you.
Mr. Brock, what are your thoughts on The Miz here?
Someone who's, I'd say, recently become a big fan, and before that came in and out. I recognized The Miz. I knew who he was. My question is, where's he been the last year? What's he doing? Is he popping in and out? I watch more AEW.
I think he's starting to do his. I think he is starting to do his kind of go home tour.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't need to do anything else in wrestling. I could see The Miz being put on commentary. I think he has that Mr. Perfect, Roddy Piper, Wade Barrett thing on commentary. I think he could very much be that type of color guy where he's the heel commentator. Bobby Heenan.
That was kind of my question, is where I don't even know where he's at in the industry, because I didn't even know he was still wrestling. I thought his days were done and he was more on that side as it was.
He was just doing some stuff with the Final Testament until they finally broke up the Final Testament, because they realized they don't need Karrion Kross to have a mouthpiece, because he is the mouthpiece. But he kind of hasn't been doing much since then.
But I will say, like, as a guy who wasn't a big wrestling fan, and I wouldn't even say like a fan at all, recognizable names say a lot about a person when you're not paying attention to the show. Like, I knew who The Miz was. I knew he was probably one of 3 during that time I could recognize. The other 2 being, I don't know, probably The Rock, who was still relevant, and name one other big guy, but
John Cena.
Exactly right. It was
John Cena,
but The Miz, I could still see him.
Funny thing we bring up John Cena. He's the only title he's never held is the Intercontinental title.
Him and the Shamus, but they do both have a wonderful title of having a name from Santino, a John Cena, and the Shamus.
So I'm gonna flick. So Hound Dog, I know you're looking at the show doc too. I'm going to flip-flop us a little bit. I'm going to go with the second longest reign from here, and that is the Honky Tonk Man.
He's on. I'm cool. I'm cocky. I'm bad.
Now, Hound, you and I at the time when we were breaking into the business, Honky Tonk was working some indies, so I'm sure both of us have worked shows with Uncle Honky.
Do not say Uncle Honky.
Uncle Man? I don't know.
It's Uncle Tonk.
That doesn't sound good. That sounds like a truck.
As opposed to Uncle Honky.
That's who he is. That's how he said what he said to me. He's like, hey kid, can you go grab Uncle Honky a 6-pack before your match?
Yikes, dude. Did you tell your therapist that?
No, that's why I have a podcast. This is my therapy.
I don't think that was the same Uncle Honky.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This isn't Honky Tonk Man. This is the Honky Tonk Man, since we're talking about our weird interactions with former stars on the indies. It's happened to me twice. It hasn't happened a lot, but it's really odd that it happened twice. The first show I was ever on, and I walk in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm part of a show. And we're in a motel in I think Deptford, New
right.
Jersey. And everybody's like, oh, and they're talking about this. And I turn the corner to go look for a spot to get changed. And there's Tito Santana. And I'm like, wow, that's Tito Santana from my childhood. Tito Santana was naked. And I went, and there's Tito Santana's wiener. Wonderful. This is how my wrestling career started. The next show I'm on, in a motel as well. In a motel parking lot. No one told me because we all went into rooms to go change. I didn't know Snuka was in the bathroom. And he walked out, Jimmy Snuka naked. And
walking out with his Superfly out.
And he did and he came out and he was trying to troll everybody. And he did the whole Snuka on one knee with the hands up, and he asked everybody for a cigarette. Stark raving naked, doing the stretch with the I love you. And I was just like, really? This is really oddly specific that I'm seeing too many wieners.
This is oddly specific, but also kind of oddly correct for this show that we're doing. Since Snuka and Tito are kind of synonymous with that IC title. What? Yeah. Tito's a 2-time IC champ. He had some wars with guys like Greg Valentine. And then Snuka is known for that leap off the cage at Madison Square Garden against Morocco for the IC title.
Yep.
It just so happens that
I've seen more of them than I would have liked to have seen.
You saw Tito's burrito, and you saw Snuka's Superfly.
Unfortunately, yes. But yeah, so I'm sorry, Uncle Honky. You got Uncle Honky a 6-pack. Somehow we've gone down the rabbit hole of really weird interactions of At least I wasn't asked to call him Uncle Superfly and Uncle Tito.
That's fair. All right, so Honky Tonk Man. During a time when character-driven WWF wrestlers were huge, he might have been he was one of the biggest. He had feuds with Macho. He had feuds with Hogan. I think he's a tag team champion too with Greg Valentine when they made Valentine look like Elvis too, which was weird.
I remember
that. He was, and if you look at his entourage, him, Jimmy Hart, and Peggy Sue, who Peggy Sue was Sherry Martel. Yep. Which, if we're going to talk about 3 legends, we got them right there. Sherry Martel, Sensational Sherry, whatever you want to call her, she's a legend here too. Honky Tonk, I don't know. I know they were building Warrior up at the time. I think that's one of those things that if Vince could have went back and did a little differently, maybe might not have had Warrior beat Honky Tonk in 32 seconds.
It was just such an. It's one thing to give the Warrior his first Intercontinental title that way. It's another thing to take it off the person who at the time held it for the longest. Like, that's really unceremonious of ending something so historic. You kind of, everything that he did, you made it seem like a moot point because in came, and sure, the Warrior, all clean training, and that was all just chicken, broccoli, and rice. There's nothing else. Clean training, chicken, broccoli, and rice. It gave him that look.
Yes, yes, completely. There was no extra.
There were no supplements.
No extra supplements that gave him rage. I know a guy that trained with him in Minnesota, actually, at one point, strangely enough, Minnesota. And he said in the gym, Warrior took a 45-pound plate and hucked it across the gym just because someone slightly ticked them off. They were on the bench he wanted to get on, basically.
Oh, his EQ was extremely high. He was very emotionally intelligent, as were all of the guys who only ate chicken, broccoli, and rice in the 80s.
Oh, man. What's funny is Honky has one of the best matches. One of my favorite matches with him is with another guy who doesn't get that much credit for being, I guess, a talented wrestler, a technician, if you will. And that's WrestleMania 4. Honky Tonk versus Brutus Beefcake is hands down one of my favorite matches of all time. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a top 10 match, but it's definitely one of those matches that I will still go back and watch and be entertained by.
Absolutely, sir. That's a good callback, because that's not one you're going to think of off the top of your head. And then if you've got that one stored in the memory banks, you're going to, oh wow, I remember that was really good. And for anyone in the Legion who hasn't seen that match, it's worth the time investment. You won't be disappointed.
All right, guys. Let's move on to the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. One of Hound's favorite current wrestlers. A guy who I think might be a perfect wrestler. And that is, I didn't get a chance to say this during our Dynamite review. I was going to say that Takeshita might be the best wrestler in the world. The other argument is Gunther. I think you can make an argument for either one of those guys being the best wrestlers in the world right now. And I mean, what are we at? 87% of Gunther's entire WWE career, he's been a champion.
Oh yeah. And every title that he's held up to currently, and we'll see what happens with this one, every single title he held, it's not like he's held them multiple times. He just held them for multiple years. So it's that's the impressive thing about it. And think about the things that Gunther has done. I mean, you go back to NXT stuff. Okay, when he was the NXT UK champion for it, was it almost? It was almost 3 years, right? Or did it not quite break the 2-year mark? It was one where
I forget. Let me look, because we have what's known as the internet here.
The intranets.
The Gunther, Australian professional wrestler.
Austrian,
not Australian.
He's more. He's not good eye, mate.
All right, let's see. NXT. He was the UK champion. Let's see if I can just get a list on that one, because I think it was definitely.
I think it was just. Was it close to 3 years, or it might have just been just shy of 2 years? But either way,
let's see. Well, he was the one that beat. All right, so we had 2 champions before him. One was Tyler Bate, who was the inaugural champion. Then it was Pete Dunne, who held it 2 years, 685 days.
Yeah.
And then he was still Walter at the time, held it 870 days, just under 3 years. If you look at, I think it was just under 3 years.
Yes, he held it from 2 3/4 years.
Yeah, April 5th, 2019 to August 22nd, 2021. He lost it to Dragunov.
Which, what a match. But I want you to think about this, though. I think I can name off right now, off the top of my head, since he arrived, who has pinned him or who has beaten him. And it's, so, Dragunov. Braun Breaker beat him on NXT one time.
Yep.
Chad Gable had the countout victory. Sami Zayn pinned him. And Cody beat him in Saudi. That's it.
For that gaudy title.
But and think about that. Chad Gable winning by countout was enough to elevate, because Chad really had the crowd behind him, which I'm a big fan of El Chadador, by the way. Sammy's always going to have the crowd. Sammy's always going to have the crowd where everybody's like, oh, and Sammy wins. And what's his name? His wife's name?
I forget.
Khadijah. It's
yeah.
like Khadijah, I did it, the whole Rocky thing, da-da-da. And Sammy is one of the very best on the planet. But you're right. Gunther might be the perfect pro wrestler, because he's another one. Even with the LFG thing, you saw Gunther showed up and Gunther just walked in there and casually crushed everybody's dreams. Like, it just casually, by being so matter of fact.
Yeah, like the only person that he showed any type of real respect to was the gold medal winning Olympic wrestler.
Yeah.
And like he walked up to her and was like, "You're an Olympian, right?" "I am." "Gold medal." "Huh. You might be pretty good then." He said it like that, which is kind of respect from Gunther at that point.
Yeah, you may be very good.
Yeah, maybe I would lean on those skills. Like, basically, he just says you should lean on those skills, which that's actually probably the best advice he can give her is, be the Olympian.
And I want you to really think about it. Like, look at the people Gunther has dragged into that style. I mentioned The Miz earlier. He dragged Miz into that style, and Gunther has a way to makes you believe that anyone he's in the ring with has a shot the whole time until he goes enough and closes the door. And I love that he's somebody who, it's not like he pulls a finisher out of nowhere. He pulls a finishing sequence. He pulls a big move out of nowhere and then says, enough, I've had enough, playtime is over, and then asserts dominance. I love that he is somebody that can do that, and it's viable and believable for his character. Because when's the last time you saw Gunther win with a schoolboy? Pretty much never. It's always a lariat into a powerbomb, into a splash, into a sleeper. Into a sleeper, into a German suplex, or him chopping Dragunov in the back of his neck as hard as he can. Which that's the thing that I love so much, is it brings back the realism, because we're supposed to be able to suspend disbelief, and with Gunther, it's believable that he is that much of a monster.
Mr. Brock, what's your theories on Gunther? Have you gotten a chance to watch much of his stuff? I mean, especially.
Yeah, I'm not going to top anything Hound said. I think that's kind of the perfect description of him. He's awesome. The ring general, man. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time he comes out, and I love that it's like there's a quiet that sweeps over. Like, he's here, about to clean house. Yeah. That's a cool thing to watch. I mean, I'd love to see him live, because it's real. That's real. That's the cool
like
part.
It's a hush. It's not. It's not a. Not like, hey, I don't care about this guy. It's a like a gasp.
Yeah, I mean, that's just he's got a whole different thing going. And like you said, I've never really thought of him as one of the best until that last comment you made. It's like, yeah, he really does something there that truly puts him at the top.
And I'd never even noticed what you said. It was just, it's so unspoken. He walks in the room, and it's a hush, but he walks in the room and commands respect.
Totally.
And that's really what it is. The second he shows up, there's not a person who disrespects him. I mean,
no, he's that guy. He's the guy that you look at.
Yep.
What is it? I'm a Hound, me and you and Mr. Brock, we're all big movie buffs. I'm a huge fan of the movie Lucky Number 11.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a part where Morgan Freeman and Ben Kingsley's character are talking to each other, and he's like, what's going on? He goes, well, two guys are standing in the room. You can only look at one of them. They were calling you the boss, and they were giving me their back. It's true. You can only look at one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when Gunther walks in the room, you look at him.
Yep. I love it.
And I've heard that when he's not in character, he's a funny dude. Like he's actually like a fun-loving guy.
Sure.
He likes to go to a bar or a disco, if you will.
What the hell accent was that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Shut up. All right, guys. But
that was a pathetic Dracula. He likes to go to a disco and
That
dance.
was
Blah, blah,
Dracula.
blah.
That was Dracula.
Maybe he is a vampire.
He's not. If anything, he's Frankenstein.
Not every
or Frankenstein's
European
monster.
is a vampire, just most.
Yeah. How dare you, Steve? So judgmental.
I'm judging you right now.
You've known me long enough. You're allowed to judge me.
That's fair.
You've spoken to me outside of this podcast.
All right, guys. Well, Mr. Brock, as always, we loved having you on. If there's anything you want to plug real quick before we head off on our way, and you can give your little exit statements, if you will.
Nope, just the biggest thing on my heart moving forward is really just if you could download Dennis Otto's book. It's free to everyone. You can find it on YouTube as well. We'll post all the links. The book's called That Man Is Dead by Dennis Otto. It's an amazing story of just hope. Believer or not believer, you should read it. It's a good story. It's about a man's redemption and all the good he does for the world. And we're actually going to keep going with his testimony. I'm going to have him go on and kind of share what he's been doing since. And we're going to have people that have been through his ministry, his addiction ministry, give their testimonies of the years they have behind him clean and what he's done for them. So it's going to be a fun project. But again, I hope I keep hopping on here, man. This is fun. I really missed podcasting with friends. So
hell yeah, man. This was a good time. We're happy to have you, brother.
Oh yeah.
Amen.
Hound Dog, as always, you want to send the Legion off a little bit?
Absolutely. Now, let me say, Mr. Brock, an absolute pleasure to meet you. Thank you for joining us tonight. I look forward to many, many more conversations with you, sir. And to the Legion, thank you so much, as always, for giving us your single most precious resource, your time. Take care of each other out there. God bless.
And as always, guys, remember, tuck your chin when you bump.